Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Annalise and this is my channel where we get planty with it. So today is going to be a long video, so buckle up. I decided to do a little collection tour of all of the variegated plants in my collection. I didn't think it would be that many, but then as I was going around my house and bringing them all to my filming spot, I realized there are a lot of them. So definitely buckle up, get a cup of coffee, get a glass of wine, a snack, whatever, and let's get into it. I'm gonna try to keep these categorized by genus the best I can, so we're gonna start out, of course, with my favorite, Philodendron. I'm gonna start out with one I know you guys have seen a lot of times, and that's because it's a favorite. This is the Variegated Philodendron Burle Marx. Look how beautiful this plant is. It has beautiful yellow variegation. Like, look at this half moon leaf. It's been growing like crazy recently. A lot of these leaves are brand new and it's constantly putting out new growth. I don't know if you can see in the middle there, tons of new growth. This is definitely a plant I would highly recommend if you want to get into variegated plants, but you don't want to spend too much. These are definitely coming down in price. The one thing I will say is they do revert fairly easily. To try to prevent that, what I do, whenever I see a solid green leaf, I cut it off, and that's been pretty successful. As you can see, this one is pretty well variegated. Next up is another popular variegated plant because it has a unique colored variegation, and that is the Philodendron Pink Princess. This is its newest leaf, so you can see the beautiful pinky tones. It did have this all pink leaf, but as you can kind of see, maybe it's getting a little bit translucent and browning a little bit, so we're definitely going to lose that one. But it does have some super beautiful variegation, both sectoral and splotchy. Next up is the Philodendron Mottled Dragon, or Philodendron Lime Fiddle. I love this plant. So the leaves look kind of like a dragon's head with the shape. Then it has some beautiful light green, almost yellowish variegation. This guy's kind of in a weird place right now because I did cut it back and take a bunch of propagations, and I'm gonna have it grow up this bamboo pole hopefully. So it has a lot of baby leaves now from propagations I took, one big leaf, and hopefully it'll grow big and beautiful. Next up I think is my favorite variegated philodendron, and that is the Philodendron Jose Buono. Let's just take a close-up look at some of these leaves. So this leaf had a great mix of kind of more splotchy variegation and this beautiful sectoral piece at the bottom. I've had some leaves, this is actually the first. They're doing construction outside my window, so it's so loud. So this is the first leaf the plant actually put out in my care, and as you can see, it's almost fully variegated. When the leaves come out, the variegation is white. You can see on this new leaf, it looks almost entirely white, and then it fades down to this beautiful lime-ish green color. I just think this plant is so beautiful. It's been such a good grower. As you can see, the leaves have just been getting bigger and bigger. This guy's gonna have to graduate from my IKEA cabinet soon because it's really taking up so much space. That is the Philodendron Jose Buono. Next up is another beautifully variegated philodendron that's definitely on the less common side, and that is the Philodendron Florida Beauty. Oh wait, look. We have a special guest featured in this video. Little ladybug friend. I did release some more ladybugs the other day to help with pests. I actually have not seen any pests for a few weeks, knock on wood. We've been doing really good, but I just wanted to release some more just to kind of stay on top of things. So this is the Philodendron Florida Beauty, and I just love this plant. First off, let's just check out these really pretty kind of reddish petioles. I don't know if it's coming across all the way on camera. And then the variegation on the leaves is just stunning. This was a basically half moon leaf that it put out. It can have some leaves with more yellowy variegation. You can see here. This was the original leaf. Honestly, I should cut this off soon, but I'm so attached to it, so I have not yet. This is the first leaf it put out. And it just has that really unique leaf shape that I think adds so much to the plant. I think it's so pretty, and it's actually pretty easy to grow. I was pretty nervous getting this plant because it was definitely on the pricier side, and they are a little bit harder to find. And I was worried that, I don't know, I would kill it, I would mess it up. It's in sphagnum, but it's just been doing so well. It's so easy. It did root into this moss pole really easily. So I would definitely recommend this plant if you can find one at a good price. Okay, who's next? I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, this video is way more overwhelming than I thought it would be. Next up is the Variegated Philodendron Giganteum. Let's check out the newest leaf, which is right here. So pretty. I love it. Look at these leaves. This was actually a plant I got in an import order from Green Spaces. If you haven't watched that unboxing, definitely check it out. And I also did just put out a video on an update on all of my import plants. Obviously, you can see this one is doing well and thriving, but I show all of them and tell you kind of my thoughts on imports and whether or not it's worth it. Anyway, back to the point. This guy is so beautiful. What's great about it is that it's a Philodendron Giganteum, which if you've seen them, they can get absolutely massive. That's definitely my goal for this plant. I need to definitely stake it soon because as you can see, the leaves have been getting a little bit smaller than the original leaves it came with. So I need to stake it sometime soon. I just wanted to give it enough time to really root up and acclimate before I did anything too crazy. So that will definitely be coming soon. For the record, I'm not really including philodendron like the philodendron silver stripe or the philodendron Brazil. I know they kind of have a type of variegation on them, but I don't really think of that in my mind as variegated plants. There's a few plants like that that I'm not including because I don't really consider them variegated, even though they maybe are, like the Syngonium pink splash or pink spot, Syngonium confetti. I don't know. To me, those don't really count as variegated, but maybe they do. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably won't see them in this video. Okay, we have a few more philodendron to go. Next up is this beautiful variegated philodendron domesticum, and it's a cute little cup. Look at the little flowers on it. And here she is. So I originally got this plant as a single leaf cutting. Here is a cutting. There is a little bit of browning starting to happen at the top of the leaf there, which is not surprising because it's a very, very yellow leaf. And usually leaves that have a lot of variegation, either white, yellow, whatever color, they can start to brown over time because they don't have enough green, and you need green on the leaves to get enough energy in order to keep the leaf alive. However, it's doing very well rooting its sphagnum, and it's put out 2 little baby leaves. The first one is pretty nicely variegated. The second one does have some variegation down here. I think it's a little bit hard to see on camera, but I promise it's there. This is also a very new leaf. It just finished unfurling the other day, so once it hardens off, you can usually see the variegation a little bit better. So I'm very excited about this plant. I'm very happy it's doing well. This was another one I was super nervous about because the cutting was unrooted, and I was like, if I lose this plant, I might cry. So next up is a plant that has been doing very well recently, and I'm very excited about it, and that is the variegated Philodendron Hederaceum, or a variegated heartleaf philodendron. So you can see how beautiful these leaves are. They've been kind of coming out weird shapes. Like, I don't know what shape this is trying to be, but I don't really care because the variegation is totally beautiful. There's another stem back here that has way less variegation on it, and it actually completely reverted and put out a couple completely green leaves. I mean, you can see this leaf is completely green. This one's mostly green. So I did just cut this stem back to see if maybe we can get some more variegated growth. But I'm not even that upset about it because this front stem is doing so well. I actually need to pin it down again to this pole so it'll attach, but that is the variegated heartleaf philodendron. This is another one I would definitely recommend. I've seen them come down in price a lot. They used to be like at least 100, 150 for a single leaf cutting, and now they're way less than that. Plus they're great because they do grow really quickly and you can easily cut them, propagate them, share them with friends, and all of that. So next up is a plant that you guys have seen me talk about on my channel. I think I talked about it in my planty glow ups video, and this was one of the plants that actually did not glow up but went the opposite way. So this is my philodendron ring of fire. It started out as a beautiful, really nice one-leaf cutting that completely died, and I was left with a chunk, and so I had to reroot it and restart, and this is where we are. It has some really beautiful variegation on the leaves. You can see some of the leaves are more speckled. It put out this entire yellow leaf most recently, and then it looks like it's putting out like a very pink leaf. I'm very interested to see what that one looks like. I'm a little bit nervous that it's putting out solid colored variegated leaves because those often die off, but it does seem like it has really good genes because the plant has put out a lot of speckled leaves. So I'm hoping after maybe these 2 solid colored leaves, we can balance out a bit and have some more green in our leaves. I'm just so proud of how this plant has done because I really thought it was a goner when the leaf fell off. Okay, so for the last 2 plants in my philodendron collection, they're actually kind of related, so I'll show you guys them together. First, we have the philodendron white knight. Here she is. So this one is not a super well variegated one. They can definitely have a lot more variegation, but you can see there's a little white here. This is the original leaf cutting I got, and it's put out these adorable baby leaves. Also, can we take a moment to look at how cute this planter is? It's a little frog hanging off on the planter. If you guys want to see like a planter tour, I know I just saw Benji Plants' ceramics tour. I don't have as cool ceramics as he does, not even close really, but I don't know, maybe you guys would want to see some of the little planters I have. But let me know, comment down below. But yeah, here is the philodendron white knight. I just can't wait to see this guy grow. Something about the leaves, they're so glossy, and I'm just like really loving this kind of more round shape of leaf recently. And then related to that, in the same royal family is, let me not drop it, the philodendron white princess. So this is basically the same as the philodendron pink princess, but just with white variegation. This is one I actually got from a friend. This was one of the original leaves. It was super beautiful. It's been kind of yellow like this for a while, but it's not falling off, so I'm just letting it do its thing. And then the latest leaf it put out was basically a half moon. So stunning. I can't wait for this plant to mature. I think I want to get it on a stake or pole soon so we can get some bigger leaves. Okay, that about wraps it up for philodendron. Let us move on. I think the next largest group of plants would be Monstera, so let's jump into that. First up, we have the most classic variegated Monstera in my opinion, which is the Monstera Albo. I have a couple of these. I'll show you guys 2 of them, but this is my favorite one because it's obviously the biggest. I got this originally as a 2-leaf cutting and it's just taken off. I haven't lost any leaves. This one did yellow a teensy bit, but really nothing major. And this guy is just a prolific grower. I think the newest leaf might be my favorite. Just the color is so stunning. And then you know what I noticed this morning? Can you guys see that? There's a new baby leaf coming out. I'm very excited because I was just about to repot this because I'm pretty sure, well, I'm very confident it's root bound. I mean, you can see there's literally all roots. So I'm ordering a larger glass container that I'm going to transfer this guy into, but I'm just impressed it's putting out new growth. I'm so excited. And look at these aerial roots. Don't you want to just like, not really, but yeah, super, super juicy aerial roots. So this guy's doing amazing. I want to show you guys my other Albo Monstera just because it put out a very pretty leaf. I've definitely had some trouble with this plant. This is from the first Albo I got was a very slightly variegated Albo. It did not have a lot of variegation, and that's because I didn't have a lot of money and I bought it for pretty cheap. And so it ended up putting out a lot of green leaves, pretty much completely reverting. I cut it up into about 4 different pieces, and all of those have had varying degrees of variegation. So this guy, it started out with a green leaf, which was disappointing. Then I had hope because it put out this leaf with a little bit of variegation, you can see there. Then we got another green leaf, and then the stunner that came out of nowhere, this guy. So basically a half moon. I don't know where this came from. And then of course, the next leaf, this one's still unfurling, but solid green. So I don't really know what's up with this plant. I'm not gonna cut it yet. I'm just gonna let it be. I mean, I can see there is white in the stem. Like, there is white in the stem, so it really should be doing better, especially considering how much white this one had. But maybe it's gonna do like an every other leaf thing. I've had one do that before, so maybe that's what its deal is gonna be, but I just wanted to show you guys this leaf. So next up, what I think is the second most popular variegated Monstera is the Monstera Constellation. Super beautiful. It definitely looks kind of like the Albo, but the variegation is a little bit creamier in color, and it's usually more speckled throughout the entire leaf. This guy's doing okay. I think I've showed you guys before, but the bottom 2 leaves had kind of turned yellow, but they're still here. They're still hanging on. They're not declining, so I think that's just what they're gonna look like. It is super well rooted in here. I'm really, frick. I gotta up-pot this soon, and every time I up-pot, I end up having to rip off roots because this container. Anyway, that's not the point. The exciting update is that it is putting out a new leaf, and it looks like it's gonna have the most fenestrations of any leaf yet. I really cannot wait to see it unfurl. I'm so tempted to like manually unfurl it to look at it, but I'm trying not to mess with it. But I'm seeing some good variegation on it, so that's exciting. So next up is a variegated Monstera Stanleyana, and this is the Albo variegated one, so it has white variegation. Now, this is not a great example because it doesn't have great variegation. You can see there's a little bit of white on that leaf. Most of the leaves have like a few little speckles of white. They can get really pretty sectoral variegation, and I've had that happen before, but not on this plant here. I cut it back and I cut the leaves with the sectoral variegation to propagate them in the hopes that maybe I can get a more variegated plant. They're still rooting up. They haven't put out new growth, so I don't really know yet, but this is what we're left with on this guy. But I'm not unhappy. I think it's super cute, that new leaf. So staying in the category of Monstera Stanleyana, I also have the Aurea variegated one. Aurea just basically means yellow variegation. So here she is. It's a little bit hard to see on camera. It's kind of faint, but there is variegation on there, I promise. And it just decided to put out this new baby leaf. I'm so excited. This is actually a Christmas gift from my friend, Gabe. I think you guys have probably seen his video where he talks about his favorite plants, but yeah, he did give me this, so I can't wait to see the next leaf come out. Yay! Okay, next up is the variegated Monstera Adansonii. Now, there's a bunch of types of variegated Adansonii, and so this is just one of them. This is the mint form, so it has kind of a minty variegation. Duh, that's really obvious. It's called the mint form. This is actually my boyfriend's plant, but I kind of want to steal a cutting because I'm obsessed with it. Like, all of the leaves are really weird, wonky shapes. I don't know if you can tell. This is my favorite because why are you so long and skinny? That's what she said. Sorry. Anyway, this plant, wow, I really just like lost my train of thought. But yeah, this plant is amazing. I highly recommend it. It grows so quickly. It put out all of these leaves in at most like 3 or 4 months at most. It's been super easy to take care of. It does live in a greenhouse cabinet, but I don't think it even would need to. I don't think it needs super high humidity. We're just protective of it, so that's why it's in there. But This guy is such a beauty, highly recommend. So the next category is going to be Hoya. Now it was a little bit hard for me to pick which Hoya to include in this because I feel like there are a lot of Hoya that have splash on them, but I don't know if you would consider that, I don't know if we would consider that variegation. I mean, it technically is. Splash is variegation. It is like white splashing on the plants, but I feel like almost all Hoyas have some level of splash, at least a little bit. So I wanted to include only Hoyas that are specifically called variegated meaning there is a full green form or a full solid colored form, and this is the variegated form of it. I hope that made sense. If you want to see all my Hoyas, you can watch my Hoya collection video, and I'm definitely going to do an updated one soon because things have definitely changed, but here we go. First up is my favorite variegated Hoya, which is the variegated Hoya Heuschkeliana. I don't know why I feel like I have to sing that name. Here she is. Oh my god, she is so pretty. Do you see those like pinkish tones, yellows, greens? She's doing so well. We got some root growth on the bottom of this container here. And what I love about this plant is it grows so quickly. I highly recommend this. This for me started out as a 2 or 3 leaf cutting, and I got it in August. Now we're in January and it's grown a ton. I mean, for Hoyas, this is a ton of growth. It really is. So highly recommend this if you like Hoyas, if you like some variegation on your Hoyas. This is the one. Okay, next up is probably my least favorite variegated Hoya that I have, and that is my Hoya Carnosa Compacta Albo Marginata. Now, the reason it's my least favorite is not because of how it looks. It obviously looks gorgeous with those white margins. The reason it's my least favorite is because it refuses to grow. Since I purchased it, it has not done anything. I got this plant back in the summer. I actually got it in a plant shop with me video where I went to Dahing, which is a plant shop in Chinatown, and it was a great price. I think it was $30, which is pretty good for this size, and it's done absolutely nothing. It really is frustrating. I don't really understand. I follow another girl on Instagram who got this plant on the same day I did from the same store. Like, it was the same plant, and hers has grown a bunch, so I really don't know what I'm doing wrong. If you have recommendations, let me know. This guy lives in my greenhouse cabinet with all my other Hoya. All my other Hoya love it, are doing well, growing, but this guy has said no thank you. Oh, we're having a small technical difficulty. I spilled my entire watering can on the floor, which reminds me, my kitchen did flood yesterday, which was so much drama, but you know, we're okay, we're alive, everything's fine. But now there's water all over my floor again. It's fine, we're gonna clean it up later. The reason I got up is because I wanted to grab a Hoya, so let me actually get it this time. Okay, this is the Hoya Latifolia Albo Marginata. It used to be called the Macrophylla, but they just reclassified it. So you can see the edges of the leaves are supposed to be white. I think this one's getting a little bit extra light or too little light. I don't know, one of the two. And so it comes out more of a lime green on my plant, but I don't mind. I think it is so, so pretty. Highly recommend this one as well. They grow so quickly. Here's a new leaf, and it's in this cute little terrarium planter thing that hangs in my window. So 2 more. Next up is the variegated Hoya Carrii. Here it is. This guy has been on the One Leaf Club for months now. I talked about it in my slowest growing Hoya, but I think I might have also talked about it in plants I have that are struggling. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, it's in the One Leaf Club. It's definitely pretty. I think I'd appreciate it a lot more if it had more than one single leaf, but it is what it is. That's the variegated Hoya Carrii. We have one more variegated Hoya, and that is the variegated Hoya Wayetii or Kentiana. I don't know. I've heard them used interchangeably. I've heard that they're different. I've heard that they're not, but here she is. This guy has been doing so well recently. It did nothing for months, and then I put it in my greenhouse cabinet like literally 6 inches from the grow light. It gets the most harsh light, and it loves it. Look at the new growth here that it's putting out. Do you see those little baby leaves there? Yeah. It's gotten so beautifully pink, which it hadn't done before, and I think just really adds to the plant. Plus it's in this cute little face planter, so it's kind of like this guy has crazy hair. I've been growing this guy in sphagnum. It started out in soil and didn't grow, and now that it's in sphagnum, it's been growing, so very, very pretty. Okay, so I think the rest of the plants are not in categories anymore because these are all kind of one-offs of genuses. So I'm just gonna go through them one by one. First up is Spathiphyllum, which means peace lily. Here is my variegated Domino peace lily. I love this plant. I just repotted it in this really cute black and white planter, and it's just so pretty. You can see some of the leaves have a little bit more of a sectoral variegation like that one, and then some kind of have more splotching throughout the leaf. I also like that the leaves are almost textured. Can you see it's kind of like almost wrinkly or something. I kind of like that. I think it's really unique. And these guys grow super easily. They don't like to dry out super long. Like you'll notice they will be so dramatic and droop all the way down until you water them, but they're really fairly easy to keep alive. Next up is Epipremnum. I actually have 2 Epipremnum. I'm not including things like Marble Queen, which is obviously a variegated Epipremnum, or the Golden Pothos. That's also a variegated Epipremnum, but I'm not including those. I wanted to choose ones that were a little bit more interesting. So here is the Epipremnum Emerald, I'm pretty sure. So it's a little bit hard probably to see on camera, but the leaves do have a green on green variegation. You can see it there. There is that darker green color in the center, and then it's a little bit lighter green on the outside. I think this guy is so cute. I just moved it to higher light to see if maybe I can get the variegation to stand out a bit more, because it's a little bit faded, but it wasn't in very good light before. So hopefully that makes the difference. So next up is the Epipremnum pinnatum Albo Variegata. This is a beautiful leaf, you can see. So this has beautiful white variegation throughout the leaf. Some are a little more sectoral, some are a little bit more splotchy. This plant is so pretty in my opinion. Now what's extra special about this plant is when the leaves get big enough, they will fenestrate. And I'm really trying to make that happen. As you can see, this guy is on a moss pole, and a lot of it is really well attached to the moss pole. So I'm hoping, wow, wait, look at this new leaf. That's so pretty. But yeah, a lot of it is already attached to the moss pole, so I'm hoping that we have some success. The only issue is that some of it, as you can see there, is reaching the top of the moss pole, so I have to figure out how to make an extension. This is a very cheaply made moss pole that I made myself early on in my plant journey. Don't really recommend this, but I need to figure out if there's a way I can attach another piece to it so that this can keep growing, because I really don't want to have to rip its roots out of the sphagnum that it's already attached to. Anyway, that is the Epipremnum pinnatum Albo Variegata. Okay, next up I have one variegated alocasia, which is my variegated alocasia Adora. Here she is. She's been doing a little bit worse in the winter, which is not surprising. Alocasia can go dormant in the winter. She hasn't gone dormant, obviously, but she has had less leaves. She's only been able to hold 3 at a time, whereas in the summer it was more like 5 or 6, and the leaves are a lot smaller right now. But nonetheless, they are stunning. Look how pretty that variegation is. I love it. Here's the 3rd leaf. I do love this plant. I love how big the leaves can get when it gets enough sunlight. Yeah, and this plant grows pretty easily and pretty quickly. Okay, I have one Syngonium that is variegated. If we don't count like the pink splash and some of those other ones, this one's actually like called Variegata, and that is the Syngonium Albo Variegata. Now, if you guys saw my struggling plants video, you know that my Albo is basically dead. This is some growth that is sort of okay. There's a little bit of leaf burn in the corner, but not too bad. But this is basically all of the healthy growth I have left. These 2 little baby leaves. Sad. But yeah, that is the Syngonium Albo. You can see they have really beautiful white variegation on the leaves. Highly recommend this plant too. These are very easy to grow, but definitely do not spray dish soap on it like I did, because that will kill the plant very sadly. But otherwise, they're really easy to grow and they grow really quickly. So if you want a variegated plant and you kind of want to start with one that's not too complicated, I would highly recommend the Syngonium Albo. Okay, another plant that does not fit into any category is the variegated Amydrium medium. This is a beautiful plant. It has these really weird leaf shape. I don't really know what you would call this leaf shape, but the variegation is beautiful. It also is very textured, like the leaf's very wrinkly and bumpy, kind of like the Pistil Domino, but a little bit more pronounced on this plant. So super beautiful. These are cuttings we took recently. I think we're actually going to sell them soon, but we're just waiting until they root up, although they do have a decent amount of roots in here. Oh, also random thought, this plant is actually in a wine bottle. We didn't take the label off well, which bothers me to no end, but the point is this is in a wine bottle that we actually cut with a glass cutter. I don't know if you guys would be interested, but I can definitely make a video on how I cut my glasses for plants. I don't know, let me know if that would maybe be interesting or not. Okay, next up is a plant that you guys saw in my birthday haul, and that is my variegated Homolomina rubescens, I want to say, and it's stunning. I love this plant, and it's doing so well since it arrived. We've had no issues at all, thank goodness. It did put out a new leaf. I think this was the leaf that was coming out when I got it, and it's made it out perfectly. It's that leaf in the middle right there. Super pretty. This guy's just in water right now. I'm kind of just letting it root up until it's ready to go, but I should probably put it in leca soon. I think it's pretty much ready. Okay, I'm only seeing one more plant, which means we've basically made it. Last but definitely not least, in this adorable heart planter, it's my variegated string of hearts. There they are. So cute. I don't know, I love the pairing of this planter and the plant. I just put it in here the other day because I just picked this up this past weekend, but it's doing super well. This plant is so beautiful. The leaves can kind of turn a purpley pink when they get enough sunlight, and all of the leaves have kind of that white edging that is from the variegation. I love this plant, and I'll be honest, and this is an unpopular opinion. I actually should just make a video on my unpopular plant opinions because I know I have some that people disagree with. I don't love the string of hearts. Like the regular one, I have one, it's okay. I don't feel strongly about it, it's very meh. But the variegated string of hearts, I strongly love. It just makes more sense to me. I feel like the leaves are thicker and more succulent. They're more exciting. I don't know, it grows better for me. I find it a lot easier to take care of, so one unpopular plant opinion probably. Wow, we did it. If you guys made it to the end of the video, go you. That's very impressive because I know this is gonna be a long one. We'll see how long it ends up being once I edit it, but thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely comment down below, what was your favorite variegated plant that I showed you guys today? Are there any that you would want to add to your wish list? And are there any variegated plants that you have that you think I should add to my wish list? I will say the Monstera Aurea is already on my wish list, but that's a plant that's really, really hard to get. That's probably my top variegated plant that's on my list mentally right now. But yeah, comment down below if you have any recommendations of what I should add. Okay, now that that is all done, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. And now it's time to clean up this mess I have created. Look at all this water.